Alright, in this update video we'll be looking at the changes to the MPTF forecast dialog box in particular. Now if we go to, first go to the options, and you'll notice a new selection display preferences. If you open that up now, this relates to the way MPTF windows are displayed, and if you can just make sure that your display preferences are showing list view as the default, and that will give you the newest view for the purpose of this video. Okay, so if we open MPTF now, so just open this triangle group Comp F, composite triangle group, and just open this model good independent, good IND. Okay, and one of the things that you will immediately notice is that instead of having tabs along the top of the window, we've now got this list of data sets down the side. If you wish to return to the tabbed view, just go back to display preferences. Okay, and then you'll be able to switch back to the old tabbed view if you so wish. Okay, I want to stay in this view, so I'm going to open it back up. Okay, the advantage of having the list view in this way is that you can now order the datasets just by clicking on the title, or you can order it by cluster. In this case, it's not making any difference in the order because they're all independent. But it is often convenient to group the datasets by one of those two attributes. Okay, and this applies to all the Windows subsets of MPTF, by the way, whether you're looking at forecast summary windows or diagnostics or any of those windows when you have multiple tabs. Okay, so let's open the forecast dialog box now, and we have a number of new options here. This is actually now a combination of the forecast and forecast combinations, which was introduced in 10.6. So we've made a number of revisions to this interface. By default, you will have all the data sets selected and the aggregate of everything created. This is the same as what a normal forecast in MPTF and 10.6 would give you. If you want to make any changes to the forecast, simply right-click and edit is the easiest way. Now, you also will notice the option for currency. This is included in the dialog because we actually do have multiple currencies associated with this triangle group. So if I just step back 1 second, we go back to the triangle group, go to the triangle groups tab, and you'll see that we've got, for each triangle group, we've got about 3 different currencies: Canadian dollars, Great British pounds, and US dollars. Okay, and that's the reason that now in this forecast, when we open it and edit it, we've got the options for editing exchange rates relative to the currency. And by default, the exchange rates are all 1, and that is just to ensure that we match against the original forecast that we have in 10.6. If you want to set the currencies, again, you'll have this option of currency. If you've got multiple currencies participating in the forecast, you can then set up the exchange rates for the currencies. You'll notice that the current exchange rate is in US dollars at the moment. That's because under the currency, we're actually saying that the final currency is US dollars. Okay. All right, under periods, we get the same settings as we did in PTF. That is, the reserving and pricing has been combined together. Okay, and we've also got the subset of first and last calendar periods as well. Okay, in the case of currencies, we've also got the option optimal. Okay, and what that does is it's like automatic, but applies the most suitable units for the individual currencies in question, and that just makes it easier when you're comparing or computing forecasts, I should say, for quite disparate currencies. Okay, as with the forecast combinations, you can select different subsets, select the data sets, and create a new aggregate forecast just of this one. So let's say PLI fins. Oops. Okay. You could do it like that. Let's create 2 IC, for instance. You can then create, just by selecting Control click or Shift click, which is how I was selecting it before, you can right-click and combine datasets and say PL ins plus IC for instance. Okay, and just like in 10.6, that will create different subsets in the forecast. Okay, I'll do that shortly. One other thing is that you can only have one set of levels of aggregation. You can't, for instance, combine datasets here. So you're limited to 2 levels in the hierarchy. Okay, let's press OK here. Another change in 11 is that PALD can now be run on any aggregate. Okay, so by default we're selecting the initial aggregate. In this drop-down you can select one of the other subsets if you so wish, and that just makes it a lot faster to be able to get subsets of lines of business, in this case in the forecast, and the same thing actually applies to the Solvency II calculation as well. If you open the Solvency II dialog, again you can select in the drop-down for individual lines of business. Okay, and that concludes this update video. I hope you find the features useful. Thank you.